Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jump, and today I'll be doing my top 5 things that I liked from the Tears of the Kingdom presentation trailer video. Now, yesterday we were shown some of the gameplay for Breath of the Wild by Eiji Aonuma, and I gotta say, this was kind of interesting because we got to see a bit more of the Sky Islands than we have in previous trailers, because with the Sky Islands, I feel like we haven't seen, with those trailers, I feel like we haven't seen too much of the Sky Islands as much, or in much detail. But with the recent gameplay trailer we were seeing yesterday, I feel like we were given more of what the Sky Islands are and what we can expect from them. And yeah, I'm just going to be talking about some of the things that I quite liked about that I saw from the trailer or from the video that was shown. So for number 5 is the way that you can traverse from the land to the sky and vice versa, because what we were shown, one of the ways we were given to go from the land to the sky and back again. One of the ways is by this rock that fell from the sky, and using one of the hand's abilities, we were able to go back up to the Sky Islands, and that's really interesting because that could be possibly one potential way out of how many ways to get to the Sky Islands. And yeah, and plus with a hand ability, that's really interesting because with that combined with any other thing, with the ability that we were shown that was shown on being used on the rock, that could be interesting. We could use it on enemies, or as shown, the boulder, or and as well as that metal ball that was shown in the first or second trailer, I believe. So yeah, and I do like how if you want to go back to the land again, you just have to jump off the Sky Islands and just do it Skyward Sword style and just kind of like paraglide or just dive off the edge and kind of like do a sort of skydiving maneuver. That's really cool, and yeah, that's something that was something quite cool. That was something I'll probably want to do as much as I can when I do get to play Tears of the Kingdom. For number 4 is the new enemies. Now, we weren't shown a lot of the old enemies, but what we were mainly shown in terms of enemies that we can fight are these sort of robot-looking things. And I think from what I remember, I don't remember the names. I think they were called Curations or Sentinels or something like that. I don't know, 100% remember. But yeah, by looking at these new enemies, they look very different to the other enemies we have seen in previous Zelda games, including Breath of the Wild, because they look more ancient, more robotic. Because if you look at enemies like Bokoblins, Moblins, Keys, or Lizalfosses, they seem to be there for a long time, maybe a couple hundred years, give or take. But with these new robotic enemy creatures, they seem to look like they've been in Tears of the Kingdom or in Hyrule for thousands of years. So that's something quite cool to see, and that's something I think what makes the Zelda games really interesting, of bringing in either new or old enemies and just making them look like they live in that particular world, and making as if they've been there for centuries or longer or stuff like that. And it's just something really cool, and and those enemies are really cool, and I think they're a really interesting way of fighting them. For number 3 is the new weapons, quote unquote. And what I mean by this is that in the trailer, we were shown that we can actually fuse weapons together and make sort of new ones, kind of. Because another thing we were shown is another hand ability that we can make to fuse different weapons together. So one of them was a stick, I believe, combined with a rock to make a hammer, and Another one I believe was a pole with a pitchfork on it, and that's really cool because you don't really see that in Zelda games of you fusing weapons together. The only fusion that kind of happens is probably in Age of Calamity and I would say Skyward Sword to an extent, because with Age of Calamity you could fuse weapons together, and probably as well the original Hyrule Warriors, where you could fuse weapons together to make better ones, whether that's in defense or attack or whatever. And then in Skyward Sword, you could fuse, or you could basically just make the Master Sword by using the Sacred Flames. But with Tears of the Kingdom, these new weapons look really cool. And again, with the way that you play in Breath of the Wild, and with like all the weapons you could do in there, the new weapons you can curate are pretty much endless, because you could combine as many stuff as you probably want and use them to advantage against enemies. And this kind of works with the shields as well, because we were shown that there was a sort of mushroom thing on Link's shield that could create this sort of like dust cloud if being hit, and that's something really cool. And that the possibilities of combat are now endless if you play Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom back to back when Tears of the Kingdom comes out. For number 2 are the new areas to explore. Now, what I mean by this is the stuff that was kind of shown in the Sky Island that was mainly used in the gameplay. And from what we've seen, there are some caves here and there. And yeah, the caves, again, are really interesting because we haven't really had that much caves, I would say, in a lot of the Zelda games. Some of them will probably just hold, a treasure maybe a piece of heart. But with Tears of the Kingdom, with them bringing it back, there could be so much more. Maybe a hidden dungeon, maybe, or maybe a sort of training area where we could fight a wave of enemies or something under a time limit, or maybe something like that, or maybe just a secret area to like curate your weapons, or fuse, or make some recipes, maybe something like that. And yeah, I'm really, even though we weren't shown that much of like the cave areas, maybe when the game comes out there could be more added to it, or maybe all the way that the game plays, maybe we can find some more, something like that. And for number 1 is the use of the hand abilities. Now, within the game we were shown 4 or 5 abilities. 2 of them I've kind of explained a bit. One of them being the reversal ability. I believe that's the one where you use it on like that rock that can go back to the sky once it's fallen down. The other one was the fusion one, that you could create 2 weapons together. And then there was, from what I remember, an ability in which you can go through walls or I think ceilings, and that's, I would say, probably the most broken one, possibly, because if you wanted to go through a ceiling or through a mountain, and you can use that, and you can just go straight up, and that's, I would say, the most useful one, I would say, from what I've seen so far in the video or from the gameplay trailer, just because of the way that you can just get to the top of things easily without the use of stamina. And the stamina was a useful aspect of Breath of the Wild, but it did get annoying a lot of the time when you were about to get to the top of a particular hill or mountain, and you did run out of stamina without having the proper, without having extending your stamina or getting stamina enhancements. So the endure shrooms or the stamina shrooms, something like that. And with the hand abilities, with the one that can make you go through ceilings and stuff, I would say that's the most useful, just because you won't have to use stamina for those for climbing up for climbing up stuff again. So that's really useful. And I also do enjoy the fusion and reversal abilities as well. Those look useful, and I think they could be really useful in when it comes to boss battles and stuff. So yeah, I would say overall the hand abilities is quite useful, and I think it looks quite fun. So that's my top 5 things that I enjoyed from the gameplay trailer for Tears of the Kingdom. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.